Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from the beautiful metaverse, and more specifically from beautiful Danville, Illinois, homeland of the Corellian tradition. And this is Midday with Reverend Don. Welcome. And as you know, if you follow Midday with Reverend Don, you can type your questions or comments directly on whatever platform you're watching on, if you're watching live, and they should show up here in my chat room. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I want to thank everyone who came to my Friday night metaphysical and magic auction. We had a good time. We made a couple of sales. It was quite nice. And of course, it was Friday the 13th, always an auspicious day for those of the pagan persuasion. And today, I thought I would do some mini readings if anyone is interested, and just kind of talk about various things along the way. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is astrology. And for those who are not aware of it, the United States is currently in its Pluto return. And it may be that you might not have ever heard of a Pluto return before, because they don't happen in people's lives. So usually when you're studying astrology, it's probably not going to be mentioned if you're studying personal astrology. A Pluto return takes, I believe, 240 years to occur, so people don't get them. But countries do. Certain institutions do, and it's always a very lively time. Pluto is a planet associated with transformation and disruption. And hello to Janet Winston in the chat room. It's good to see you, Janet. And many countries and or institutions survive their Pluto return, but never without change. It's always a time of transformation one way or another. This is why if you look at the history of various nations, various dynasties, for example, you'll notice most of the dynasties, even in very old nations, usually only survive for about 250 to 300 years. And then they change, sometimes to another branch of the same family, sometimes complete change in dynasty. If you look at very ancient empires like China or England, or ancient Egypt for that matter, you'll note that this is true for most of the individual dynasties that ruled them, even though in cases such as England, they were all related to some extent, but sometimes only very distantly. And usually every 250 to 300 years, there would be a change. Now, this is not an absolute statement because there are no absolute statements, but when Pluto returns happen, they make significant changes. Now, today, we have an interesting astrological thing going on. We have Uranus basically placed on Algol. And Algol is widely regarded as a maleficent star. I don't know that I exactly agree with that because, as you know, if you follow my work, I'm not a great believer in the idea of, quote, good versus evil. I think that people's definition of both of those terms is usually highly self-serving and doesn't touch on actual reality. So I think I would say that Algol is more a star that has to do with defiance of expectations and with changes in path. But either way, Uranus is located on it at this time, so we should look for some somewhat disruptive things to be happening. Of course, that's all over the news. But if you're wondering what's going on astrologically, that's part of what it is. And since nobody has asked for a reading yet, I'm going to do something unusual for me, and I'm going to do a reading for the upcoming election. Not in terms of who will win it, but what the ultimate results will be. As much for my own gratification as anything. And I'm shuffling my cards. You can't really see me doing it because of how the camera is set up, but I'm shuffling them. And As I always do, I will draw 3 cards, possibly more, to give me my answer. The cards I have drawn are the Prince of Wands, the Eight of Wands, and the King of Cups. The Prince of Wands is a card of dissipation of energy. And I would take that to mean that we will not come out of this situation, not come out of the election, what you would call highly focused. Probably still divided, probably playing in different ways. With it is the Eight of Wands, which is speed and things happening quickly. But it's followed by the King of Cups, which is happiness. So I would say overall, it will lead to a good place, but with a lot of energy going in a lot of directions, not all of it necessarily visible. Let me draw one more card because, of course, I will. And I've drawn the Queen of Lamps, which is magic. And I would take that to say that all of us who want to see a particular future should use our magical abilities to focus on that future. And of course, that's always true. So there's our first mini reading. Do we have anyone else who would like one? So far, I see no one. So I think I will continue talking about the various forces moving around in the world. One of the things that that I've spoken at a great deal is the idea of Project 2025. And I continue to use that term and that specific reference, but I want to draw attention to the fact that this is part of a very large movement. It's not something sudden, it's not something new. Project 2025 in particular was an agenda for a certain outcome if the election went a certain way, to transform the government and the nation into basically a Christian theocracy. But, we've been talking about that for many years. Certain people have been working on that idea for many years. If you remember, during the Bush administration, a lot of people were afraid of that happening then, though it did not. In the Correllian tradition, one of our first major written pieces is the 5 Mystic Secrets. And if you read the 5 Mystic Secrets, and in particular you read the commentary attached to it, you'll notice that it was written in response to this same movement all those years ago. So the thing I want to say about Project 2025 and everything attached to it is that it's not election dependent. It doesn't matter for the plans of the Heritage Foundation and groups like it. And the Heritage Foundation really is less a single group than an alliance of many groups. It doesn't really matter who wins any particular election. It's a much wider movement, and it's not going to go away because of any one act. And we have to stay focused on preventing that future if we don't want to see it, because they're going to stay focused on creating it. And they've been working on it for 50 years or more. And I think it's very important to us, and hello to Arlene in the chat room, it's good to see you, Arlene, to take note of that and to realize that part of the way of getting things done is not in momentary resolve, but in long-term planning. Many of the people who started what we would call the Christian Dominionist or the Christian Nationalist movement aren't alive now. They died years ago, but they passed it on to other hands. This is something for us in the pagan world to pay attention to, because so often we only plan by the day. And, for some of us, that's the best we can do. That's fine. But as a movement, we need to be thinking far into the future. Now, in the Corellian tradition, we do. And I have often mentioned that I'm very pleased with the coming into power of the younger generation. I'm absolutely delighted that we have a younger generation adequately trained to handle these challenges. And had I died a little over a year ago, or a little under a year ago, because there was another occasion then, I would have had to trust that that would happen. Now I have seen it. I can be confident in it. But, it's not enough. When their time has come and gone, they too must make certain there is a younger generation that will follow them, that will keep its focus, that will do the work. And that is what groups like Christian Dominionism have certainly done. That's why a group of plans that took form in the 1960s should be so close to fruition in the 2020s. And hello to Nikki in the chat room. It's good to see you. And for us, for the future, we hope to see, for a world that is welcoming to the pagan religions, we have to take that same multi-generational attitude. We have to be willing to have that same multi-generational focus. And hello to Bonnie in the chat room. It's good to see you. And I'll say again, I'm doing mini readings today if anyone wants one, or otherwise talking about whatever happens to come into my head. But getting back to Project 2025 and Christian Dominionism, or Christian nationalism as it's currently being called, one of the things I have to point out is how often they've changed their generally known name. There was a time it was commonly called the New Right. Project 2025 itself, I believe, has changed its name now at least once. And when people do that, they're trying to get away from bad publicity by changing their nomenclature and trying to get beyond a bad reaction. But that doesn't actually mean they're different. These are all the same group going back to the 60s. And we need to be mindful of that. We also have to apply that in our definition of ourselves also. I want to say hello to LCF, La Cage au Fall, who would like to know what is going to happen in their love life going forward. Very good. So I'm shuffling my cards for La Cage au Fall. And then after that, we have a question from Arlene Hébert. And for LCF, I draw the following cards: the Tower, the Magus, and the Six of Swords. So let me tell you what those mean. And of course, you know your actual situation, and you may recognize what these refer to more readily than I do. But the first card is the Tower, and that means that whatever is going on now, it's about to have a major change. Could also be a change already in progress. But the Tower is the elimination of existing things to allow new growth, new beginnings. And you can see in the picture, we have an image of the woman breaking free of the Tower. It represents, in this case, the soul breaking free from the cycle of birth and rebirth, but it represents breaking off established forms to create new ones. So whatever's been happening in your love life, I would expect a change. That could be a change of people, it could be a change of circumstances. But it's followed by the Magus. And the Magus is the ability to work your will in the situation. What you want there, you can have there. Be clear on what you want and focus on it, and you can bring it to where you want it to be within the context of the changes that are happening. And finally, we have the Six of Swords, which is a journey. And that could mean one of two things. It could be a physical journey. It could mean that what's causing the change is the transformations that are happening. It could be a change in location, but it could also mean a personal development, a change in what you want, a change in how you feel. But either way, there's a journey happening, a lot of changes happening, but you can work your will on the situation for what you desire. I'm going to draw one more card, and I've drawn the Seven of Swords. And the Seven of Swords, says that you can absolutely do what you want, but you'll feel yourself doing it. You can see the little man in the picture has risen to the top of the hill, but he's had to climb the hill to get there. And it's saying that you may feel the effort of working for what you want in this situation, but you can absolutely have it. And there you go. And then Arlene would like to know about her current job. So I'm going to put my cards back together. And I'm going to clear them, and then Fox Furwitch would also like a reading. And while I'm shuffling, I'm going to take just a moment for a message from our sponsor. And we're back, and I'm shuffling for Arlene and her current job. And I'm going to draw 3 cards for Arlene. We have the Six of Lamps, Fortune, the Princess of Cups. We also had an escapee while I was shuffling, and that is the Two of Lamps. So I'm going to start with our escapee. And the Two of Lamps basically suggests that Arlene isn't really sure where she's going with this job. And maybe is looking for other possibilities, maybe is considering other situations. She's looking for what she needs. With it is the Six of Lamps, and the Six of Lamps says that the answer to that question is coming, and that she needs to turn to meditation and spiritual guidance to get the answer. That what she needs to do, whether it's a matter of staying in this job or finding another one, Spirit will tell her, but it's necessary to open her mind and her heart to Spirit to get that answer in its best form. Fortune says that Spirit is on her side. Spirit will help her. There is a gift from Spirit involved in this. So work with Spirit and let Spirit move you forward. And the Princess of Cups says, yeah, but you're probably feeling rather emotional about the situation. Not much to be said about that, except that my general feeling is that you're probably not happy with the current job, and probably would enjoy finding a different one. And I've drawn the Eight of Lamps on that subject, which says that, when you're ready, you will be able to. But before you do that, make sure that you're well aligned with Spirit, and that that you can manifest what you desire. As far as the current job goes, I think it's perfectly fine for the moment. It's just not what you want. and is what you want out there, I would say yes. And there you go. And then Fox Fur Witch would like a general reading. Once again, I'm shuffling the cards, but they don't show up on the camera. But I'm shuffling them anyway. You can hear it, you just can't see it. Or I think you can hear it. And then we shall draw 3 cards for Fox Fur Witch. And once again, we have an escapee. So I have drawn again Fortune, the Prince of Lamps, the Chariot, and our escapee was the 6 of Coins. And Arlene says, interesting, so many lamps. Hecate is guiding my way. That's pretty much what I got. That spirit, Hecate, your patron deity, will guide your way. And for Fox Fur Witch, our escapee is the 6 of Pentacles, the 6 of Coins. And this is getting help from another person. It's also the movement of energy. Can be another person, can be an institution, can be just help in general. So whatever Fox Fur Witch is doing at this time, they're not alone. There's help coming to them from others. The Wheel of Fortune kind of says the same thing. A gift from fate, the help of spirit, the universe moving in the direction they want to go. So it's a very good time for whatever it is you want to do, Fox Fur Witch. With that is the Prince of Lamps. And the Prince of Lamps, to me, says, be kind to yourself. I don't know if you can exactly see in the picture, but the prince is not particularly kind to himself. He represents mortification of the flesh. But my interpretation of this is that rather than doing that, you want to be kind to yourself and allow yourself to do what you need to do rather than trying to force yourself into patterns you don't wish to follow. And then you have the Chariot, which is moving forward. So what I would say overall looking at this is that you're in a good position, you're moving forward, the universe is on your side, there will be help in what you want to do. So while taking advantage of all that, be kind to yourself and don't press yourself past what you can comfortably do. Because you may be tempted to do that in this situation, but it's not necessary. Relax, let the universe help you, everything is moving forward. And there you go. And I will clear my cards. We'll see if we have one more person who would like a reading. And hello to Banshee Ghoul. And Banshee says that they too would like a reading. And hello to Rev Cosmic Eclipse. It's good to see you. And Banshee Ghoul says that things in their life are about to get worse, and they'd like to know, A, is there any hope, I assume, for things not to get worse? And how long until things finally go well? And so let us shuffle for Banshee Ghoul. And Rev Cosmic has also asked for a reading. If there's time, there may be. And I shall draw 3 cards for Banshee Ghoul. So the first card is the Six of Pentacles. And for the question, is there any hope? Bearing in mind I don't actually know the situation, I would say yes. The Six of Pentacles is getting help from outside. It may be help from a person, it might be help from an institution, but there is help there for you. So be open to it and look for it. And that help will make it easier for you to go forward, and it will give you the hope that you're looking for. Not necessarily something you can do for yourself, but the powers are there that will help you with it. The Prince of Wands says that you have to be careful about dissipating your energy. Make it a point to focus on what you desire, and do not allow yourself to be overcome by the feeling that you cannot have a good outcome. Reprogram that in your head and focus on getting a better outcome, and look for that help around you. And finally, the Two of Coins. The Two of Coins is about learning and being very busy doing things. And it says to me that you're about to enter a very busy time in which you're going to learn a great deal. And I would say that the best way to look at this period is that it's an education period for you. And hello to Jade in the chat room. And pay attention and get that education. Maybe an education in human nature, maybe an education in what to do or not do in situations, but pay attention. And again, look for that help around you, and that will help you to move forward. I'm going to draw one more card for you, and then we will read for Reverend Cosmic. And I have drawn the Six of Wands. The Six of Wands is victory. And it says that ultimately, you will come out of this well. And not only is there hope, there's a lot of hope for a very good outcome. You just have to get through it first. So what I would say is, as you're going through it, look for the lessons, look for the help around you, keep a positive outlook as much as possible, and you'll find it brings you to a good outcome. And there you go. And now we shall shuffle for Cosmic. And that will be our last reading because we are near the end of the half hour. And I hope you have been enjoying the show and the mini readings. And Cosmic would like to know what Spirit needs them to know at this time. And interestingly, we have had 3 escapees as I'm shuffling, which is the normal amount I'd look for a reading. So I'm going to take them as the reading. Jumped out of the deck rather than drawn. The first one is the High Priestess. And since we're asking what Spirit needs you to know at this time, the first thing Spirit has to say to you is be open to its guidance. Make sure that you are open to your higher self, to your patron deities, etc. Be open to the movement of Spirit in your life. Make it a point to stay connected, to stay open, and do not allow that to be pushed backward or shut down by circumstances. With it is the Nine of Lamps. The Nine of Lamps is the card of the accomplished witch, the person who can manifest what they desire. And it says part of what Spirit needs you to know at this time is that you can manifest what you want. Sometimes, even when we're skilled at this, we forget it. Remember it. Stay open to Spirit. Focus on what you desire. Bring it into reality. And finally, we have the Three of Coins. And the Three of Coins is mastery of craft. And it's saying that you know what to do. You know how to do it. There may be times that it may not be the first thing in your mind, but it's there and you need to use what you know. And if you do that, everything is going to be quite well. Let's draw one last card for you. We've drawn the Queen of Swords. And we talked about the Queen of Swords last week in the concept of experience. The Queen of Swords is learning from experience. And the last bit of this message for you is, as you look at the things around you currently, remember the things that have been around you historically. And consider what you did in similar situations? And did it go well or did it go badly? And in those places where it went well, you want to imitate that. Do what works, do what has worked, but do not repeat mistakes. Make sure that you pay attention to what went badly in the past and do not repeat it. So those are our answers for you. And I hope that that is helpful. With that, we've come to the end of our half hour. And we'll offer our prayer as we always do. I'll see you again tomorrow. And beloved Mother Goddess, beloved Father God, beloved ancestors, we thank you for all that you do for us in our lives, and we rejoice in this walk we walk together, and we pray that we shall go forward together hand in hand for many years to come. We rejoice in the messages that you send us, consciously and unconsciously, and we try always to follow them. Beloved Mother Goddess, beloved Father God, beloved ancestors, with great love, we thank you for all that you do for us in our lives. And knowing you are always with us, still from respect, we thank you for your presence. May you be blessed now and always.